You're watching KCCI, Channel 8, Des Moines. Iowa's news leader and home of live Super Doppler. This is KCCI News Channel 8 at 6.
An early afternoon fire destroys part of the Clive apartment complex, and you may not believe what firefighters think caused this fire to spread so quickly.
What happens now to the people whose apartment building burned in Clive? I'm Michelle Parker. I'll have the story coming up.
And a Des Moines man was surprised to learn he'd used his ATM card in Spain. See, he's never been to Spain. Tonight we have an important fraud alert for you. Good evening, everyone. Our top story tonight, more than a dozen people left homeless in Clive.
Fire severely damaged an apartment building at 8427 Alice. Chris Negus brought us the first live reports this afternoon, and he joins us live again from the scene tonight. Tell us if firefighters have figured out a cause to this blaze. Chris?
Kevin, I just spoke with a fire marshal a few minutes ago. He says they have not determined a cause yet. They will be back here once again tomorrow to look for a cause. But I can tell you they are focusing on a first-floor apartment. Now, as you're about to see in some of the video that we shot earlier today, an impressive sight here on Alice Avenue earlier this afternoon. Flames shot high above the three-story apartment building as firefighters battled the blaze from above. When they arrived, they did not go inside the building right away because they could hear loud pops or explosions, multiple explosions coming from the back of the building, and they are still trying to figure out exactly what that was. But tell me that there were a lot of unusual things inside of this apartment that would not normally be found inside of an apartment, including model rocket fuel that was stored inside of that first floor apartment. Now, they don't know if that's related to the cause, but say it might have accelerated the fire, and in this case, there was lots of damage.
As you can see from the top of the building, the roof's pretty much burnt off, and that's pretty common in an apartment building because the fires will go up the outside walls and get into the attics where they're typically not sprinklered.
Now, there was a lot of damage left behind again, and they tell me that inside of that apartment there were a lot of canisters. They don't know what those canisters were. They're still searching through the rubble to see what the labels were, and they say that the kitchen was more like a workshop than a typical kitchen, so they're trying to figure out what that's about, but they say it may be related to the occupant's hobby involved with model rockets. Now, there were 6 apartments in this building. More than a dozen people are displaced, and Michelle Parker is here with that side of the story. Michelle?
That's right. The Red Cross has been on the scene helping the residents of this burned out apartment. And meanwhile, those residents are trying to deal with what happened. Residents, some in tears, can only watch as their home goes up in smoke as firefighters battle the blaze. That includes Latika Dojic and 2 of her children.
I'm just here that something bomb, and I'm going balcony and see what's happened. When I see this dark smoke, and I pick up my kids and go outside.
They're able to escape before the smoke gets too thick.
I'm scared and my kids is crying. I'm crying too, but I don't know.
Command from 300.
Others get caught and are taken to the hospital, though fortunately no one is seriously injured. Those like Cindy Tran who aren't home rush to the scene, concerned about loved ones.
I'm very worried about my brother.
But he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay now.
Yeah.
We'll probably get a hotel for tonight.
Oh, hotel for tonight? Oh.
So you get settled. The complex here does have a lot of extra apartments.
The Red Cross is there to help the residents with shelter for the night and their immediate needs. Family members lend the emotional support.
Yeah, it's pretty devastating. These girls just moved in here a couple months ago and been excited about their new apartment, and now this, but they'll have to just start over and make the best of it.
We're back here live at the Crestland Apartments where firefighters are getting ready to board up the window there on that first floor. Luckily, there were not serious injuries, as we said. 4 people went to the hospital, but they were fortunately not seriously injured.
And Michelle, I do want to include the reason they're boarding up those windows right now. The fire marshal told me about 10 minutes ago they're doing that because they are going to secure the scene until they can come back here tomorrow to figure out exactly what happened in that first floor apartment.
All right, Chris and Michelle, thank you very much.
Well, just minutes before the Clive apartment fire, rescue crews responded to a multi-vehicle accident on the freeway. It happened around 11:45 this morning in the eastbound lanes of Interstate 235, just west of the 63rd Street Bridge. 3 cars and 1 delivery truck were involved in the crash. 4 people were taken to the hospital. Investigators have not released the names of the victims, so we cannot update you on their conditions tonight. The cause of the collision still under investigation.
Well, if you have never given someone your ATM card, or much less your PIN number, your personal identification number, how is it that someone can get cash from your bank account? It's exactly what happened to a Des Moines man. And KCCI News Channel 8's Jeff Greenwood shows us now that anyone with an ATM card could be a target. It's kind of scary, Jeff.
Yeah, it is, Kevin. Anyone with a card can be a target, as a Des Moines man is finding out the hard way.
Joel Strawn of Des Moines knew quickly something was wrong with his bank account. In a matter of minutes, there were 3 withdrawals from his account topping $500. His account was running out of money. He called his bank Bankers Trust, which explained someone had just used his ATM card and personal identification number from an ATM in Spain.
I have mine in my hand and told the people at the bank that we physically had our cards and they never left our possession, so I assume that somebody overseas created new cards and with all the bank information, routing information, and everything else on it.
Joel has no idea how someone could have gotten all his personal bank information. Bankers Trust isn't sure either, though someone could have exploited an electronic soft spot anywhere in the worldwide financial system.
It could be as simple as a retailer having their database corrupted for some whatever reason, and then all of those files, card files, would be at risk. So it's nothing that a customer could actually do to prevent it. It's scary to think somebody can walk around and somebody's got the technology to do that, and nobody seems to know how it happened.
In a case like this, there appears to be nothing the customer could have done to protect himself, but he kept tabs on his bank account and he called his banker immediately. Kevin, that's exactly what he needed to do.
Yeah, a good thing to keep your eye on the bank account. But Jeff, are you just out the money in a case like this?
Well, if you're a victim of fraud, it's possible you could be on the hook for $50. But Bankers Trust says in a case like this, where a customer was not careless and could not have prevented what happened, it will cover the entire loss. And Joel's quite happy to hear that.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much, Jeff.
5 tons, now 6 tons, and counting. That's how much paper we have shredded today in an effort to combat identity theft. Emily Givens live outside the KCCA studios. And Emily, only 1 hour left.
That's right, Jeanette. We will only be here until about 7 o'clock. We have been out here all day since about 11 o'clock this morning. It is an opportunity for people to come here and get any of their personal documents shredded if they choose to do so, and we will do it for free. You see, one way identity thieves can steal your identity is going after credit card statements, finding your social security number, your address, anything like that. A couple of people have just walked up here with bags and boxes worth of information. Now, we've had a steady stream of people, as I said, since about 11 o'clock this morning, even many people showing up early to get their documents shredded. They just came in with that total, another, we said, 6 tons of documents shredded today. Now, back here live, we have a bag of personal information that was given to us by a disabled woman who lives up the street. She said she wasn't able to make it up here, so we went and got this bag of documents. The coolest thing about this Great Shredder event is that you can actually watch and make sure that your documents are being shredded and not ending up in the wrong hands. So I'm going to put this up here, and they're going to shred it right away and add it to that 6-ton total. As I said, we'll be here again until 7 o'clock. We are at 888 9th Street if you would like to stop by. Kevin and Jeanette.
Simple as that. It's gone forever.
That's right.
All right. Thank you very much, Emily.
Kerbit, Central Iowa's recycling program, is turning 10 years old, and that anniversary means some big changes when it comes to what you can put in those green recycling bins. You already can put in newspapers, aluminum cans, glass jars, but now you can also start adding some other things. Used, empty aerosol cans, metal hangers, plastic bottles, even yogurt and margarine containers. Metro Waste Authority says an expansion in the recycling business is allowing them to add new items to that recycling list. And a quick clarification on when Iowa courthouses will be closed this week. All state and county courthouses will be closed Thursday for Veterans Day, but only the state courts and clerks of court offices will be closed Friday because of the budget cuts. The other county offices will remain open.
Well, it turned out to be a pretty darn nice day today, but I understand winter is on the way, and if the rumors are right, John, are we talking teens as lows later in the week?
Certainly going to be chillier than it is now. We've had 60-degree or so readings the last several days, and as we head into the next few days, teens, 20s at night, and temperatures during the day only around 40. But let's concentrate on the good news. First off, our SchoolNet weather stations out there showing readings still near 60 in Barnum at northwest Iowa, 60 in Carroll, 58 in Grimes. You head south just a little bit more, temperatures currently in the mid-50s. Our weather headlines, it looks like we will have an aurora tonight. However, there are clouds over Iowa right now, so we'll keep an eye on those clouds. A breezy day coming up tomorrow, and by late tomorrow evening, rain will be moving into the state. But it looks like it'll be mainly rain and not much in the way of any snow.
Okay. Clouds blocking the aurora. That does not refer to that street north of Des Moines.
No.
Just checking. Thank you, John.
What more can I say? If you know what's good for you, you'll watch tonight's Carlin Covers Central Iowa. I'd be much obliged if you would.
Well, he has my curiosity piqued. And why would anyone stand in line until midnight or at midnight to buy a video game? We'll show you why Central Iowa gamers could not wait to get their hands on Halo 2.
Closed captioning on KCCI is brought to you by the Iowa Clinic Women's Center. Going to the doctor just got easier. Visit iowaclinic.com and learn about coordinated scheduling.
If you can't have fun doing what you're making a living at, then you ought to be doing something else.
If that's a true measure of occupational happiness, then a Decatur County couple is head, shoulders, and a 10-gallon hat above everyone else. The name's Robert and Risa Johnston, and they live down in Leon.
And as we see in tonight's Carlin Covers Central Iowa, they run a store that caters to those who like to saddle up and hit the trail, just like the Cowboys did in the old days.
A short piece from Interstate 80, right along Highway 2, just west of Leon, sets Cowboy Collectibles and Antique. It ain't a mercantile, it ain't a general store. The joint's just chock full of authentic cowboy stuff from the prairie times and the wild, wild west.
Anything from the early 1800s to 1960s.
Risa and Robert Johnston are the proprietors, people who decided to settle down in southern Iowa after years of making a living selling cowboy memorabilia along the dusty trail.
We have old bits, old spurs, old saddles, old antique furniture.
You'll also find a fine selection of collectibles from TV and film. Roy Rogers to Hopalong Cassidy to Gene Autry, an old shooting iron or two, and even a comatose cowpoke in the corner.
So we look for those items that we can verify that they are old.
This place rocks. It's kind of like a museum, but it's better than a museum, because if you see something around here that you like, you can buy it. Where in tarnation did they get all this? Well, you'd better reckon Robert and Risa didn't spend 10 years riding the range for nothing.
We do some auctions and some things of that nature, but we're very blessed that we've got a lot of people that work with us and give us a call and let us know where things are and what's coming up.
So if you like the cowboy way, you might want to find your way to Cowboy Collectibles and Antiques in Leon. Steve Carlin, KCCI, News Channel 8.
Thank you, Steve. The video game equivalent of a new Star Wars movie, Microsoft started selling its new game, Halo 2, at midnight here in Central Iowa and all across the country, and the fans were lined up to get their hands on some of the first copies. Halo 2 is an adventure game with players taking on the role of space soldiers who fight to save Earth from aliens. 5 million gamers bought the original Halo, and Microsoft says it has 1.5 million pre-orders for the sequel. It sells for $50 a pop.
Mild day in the forecast tomorrow, then we cool her down. Super Doppler details are next.
This live Super Doppler 8 network forecast is sponsored by Menards. KCCI Storm Team 8 is your only team of 4 certified meteorologists keeping you safe under an umbrella of protection.
Well, we have some clouds overhead right now. Hopefully we'll get some breaks in the clouds later tonight. We'll explain why in just a moment. Latest conditions from the International Airport after a mild day today with highs in the low 60s, 58. South winds continue, dew point at 40, so the air is still somewhat dry. 51% relative humidity and the pressure 3008, and it is falling. Here's a look at our live camera in Carroll. And we show you this because it's been a while since the camera was operational. The folks at Dynamic Broadband up there getting the internet going again, and now we're back with, well, live pictures, a new frame coming in every second or two up there. Let's check some of our SchoolNet sites around the region, and we'll start up to the north at Kemper Catholic School in Carroll. 60 degrees with southerly winds right now, at about 6 miles per hour. Central Decatur down there in Leon, where Steve was earlier today, 57. And a final stop, our newest SchoolNet site in Ogden with 56. Let's head to the maps, and as we do, temperatures are nice and warm just to the west. Mid-60s around North Platte, Nebraska. Some of that warm air will be sliding on into Iowa overnight tonight. But as you can see right now, there are clouds across the state. However, there's some drier air just to the south, and if we see some of that clearing move into Iowa late tonight, probably after 10 o'clock, there is the potential for seeing the northern lights tonight. This bar graph I'm showing you here, this is Sunday night when we saw the huge amount of northern lights, and it takes a level about above here, above 7, for us to see it. Now here's the latest reading, and there's 7, so that's 8. So if we had clear skies now, we'd probably be able to see some northern lights. If you didn't get to see them Sunday night, here's one more look. It was an unbelievable show. Look at that, the magentas and the greens and the streaks going up in the sky, even a little bit of orange in there. So cool stuff. Maybe, again, if we clear out tonight, you'll have the possibility to see northern lights. They're being observed right now to the north of us in Canada. Cold front moving across the region tonight. Clouds thin out momentarily, and then tomorrow afternoon fill back in, and we're going to see some showers developing, but right now it looks like temperatures will stay above freezing as the rain moves in. No problem with the rain tomorrow across northwest Iowa through midday, kind of starting to move down to central Iowa by 9:24 tomorrow evening. Could see just a few flakes of snow on the backside as the colder air filters in. Then this pushes out on Thursday with abundant sunshine but very chilly temperatures. 45 for tonight with south winds. Tomorrow increasing clouds, 59 for the high. Now it is going to cool down on Thursday after the rain showers. Highs only in the upper 30s. Then with a clear sky on Friday, 19 degrees Friday morning, 42 in the afternoon, and temperatures back up to about 50 degrees by the weekend.
All right, it's getting close to that time. We're going to be starting talking about snow.
I'll not mention it for now.
Mid-November,
thank you
we
for
have
that.
to start thinking about it.
All right, thanks, John.
Thank you, John. It has been a familiar sight at Kinnick Stadium for years. Now the familiar scoreboard is going on the auction block. Heidi will have that story next to sports.
Live Super Doppler 8 radar on the iowachannel.com is sponsored by the John Stoddard Cancer Center at Iowa Methodist, the name you've always known and trusted for cancer care.
Despite what Iowa coach Kirk Ferentz calls bumps in the road, bumps like season-ending injuries, his Hawkeyes are poised to put up some impressive numbers at season's end. The Hawks' staunch defense, one of the best in the country, sparked their 7th win of the season against Purdue last weekend. Iowa's already bowl eligible, and 2 more victories could very well mean Florida again come bowl time. But first things first, like playing at Minnesota.
They're one of the preseason favorites coming into the league play this year. Very talented football team, especially on the offensive side. They got 2 of the better running backs you're going to find anywhere in the country, and some other weapons. They've got an excellent offensive line, excellent receiver out there. The big guy has made a lot of plays wheelwright, and their quarterback's playing real well for him, too.
The Iowa-Minnesota game is an 11 o'clock kickoff Saturday morning on ESPN. By the way, if you'll miss the Hawks' old scoreboard when Kinnick Stadium demolition begins after next weekend's Wisconsin game, you can always shell out $10,000 and buy it. Peterson Contractors of Iowa City has put the Jumbotron on eBay. It's a 10-day listing to end November 18th. It's available November 22nd. The purchaser must dismantle it and haul it away. It could be the perfect holiday gift. The last round of prep quarterfinal football is tonight. In Class 3A, Sheraton is at Fairfield. The Chargers are undefeated. Closer to home, once-beaten Waukee hosts Clear Lake. This game also at 7 o'clock. The Warriors are in the playoffs for the first time ever and are hosting a game for the 2nd straight round. Running back Aaron Weiss is one of the best in the state. Class 2A games also on tap, and for the 2nd straight night, there will be a game at Valley Stadium. Tonight's contest matches Clarinda and Gilbert. The Clarinda-Gilbert game kicks off at 7:30. You can look for highlights tonight at 10. Last night, it was a very late night for Ankeny, but the long trip up and back to Sioux City Heelan was worth it after the Hawks' 28-7 upset.
Well, things have turned our season around. When we were 1-2 early in the season, a lot of people forgot about us, but the Hawks are back. Our coaches and our players just stayed with it. And, sometimes it really shows the true character of a football program and a school and the team to do, what we have.
Next up, a rematch with Valley at 4:30 in the 4A semis. Valley won at Ankeny on season opening night back in September. Ankeny Athletics doing a whole lot of traveling these days. The volleyball team is headed to the state tournament Wednesday. Hawkettes were the #1 team in the state in Class 4A all season. Ankeny is one of 3 civil teams playing in the first ever 4A bracket. The other teams are Marshalltown and Fort Dodge. The Hawkettes face Davenport Central at 1 o'clock at U.S. Cellular Center in Cedar Rapids. We visited their practice this afternoon.
There's always a target on us, but our expectations is to play the best of our ability. I think that each game we have gotten better, and we're going to have to be at our best when we go to state to play. We just need one more weekend of strong play, continue to improve. There's some little things that we can do a little bit better.
We're #1, and we've been proving ourselves all year. We're really excited for the championship game if we make it that far.
And exhibition hoops for the Iowa State men. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Heidi.
For up-to-the-minute weather information day or night, call the live Super Doppler 8 Network forecast at 247-8880. Sponsored by Touchstone Energy Cooperatives of Iowa. Today's market report is sponsored by the Des Moines office of A.G. Edwards & Sons.
Upper 50s tomorrow, a bit chilly on Veterans Day, and then low to upper 40s toward the weekend.
Looks pretty good. Thank you, John, and thank you for being with us. We'll see you tonight at 10.